welcome to the AFC Virtual Travel Show. My name is Will Reese, and I'm the marketing rep for AFC Vacations. We've been hard at work making sure your vacations are a great experience, and with numerous tours out on the road, it's been an exciting year so far. There are so many trips that we offer. If we covered them all today, we'd be here for over 2 hours. But we'll go over a number of departures today. But the best way to see what we have to offer is to check out our brochure or visit our website at afcvacations.com. The AFC brochure is sent out with updates 6 times a year. If you're not already on our mailing list, please join by emailing april@afctours.com. Now, we offer worldwide tours and cruises with a number of varying travel styles. Motor coach tours in the US to our national parks, European land tours, ocean cruises, river cruises both in Europe and the US. We offer one hotel stays which allow you to unpack for your entire trip and settle into your destination. Now, our prices are inclusive and honest with no gimmicks. They include round-trip air, home pickup, or a credit if you wish to make your own arrangements to the airport. Our tour managers are some of the best in the industry, and they're helpful and organized, and they care about you as our traveler. The hotels, activities, and dining that we provide give you a taste of local life with many meals with regional specialties. We also incorporate cultural experiences in many meals as well, and the hotels we use are well located and comfortable. We also have some great sightseeing included to make our trips memorable with guided commentary to bring the destinations to life. Now, one of the items we recently introduced was guaranteed pricing. Once you deposit on your tour, once you put your deposit down, your price is locked in. So even as fuel prices change for motor coaches and river cruise ships, that price is set. For example, last year we had a river cruise going out, and the cruise company sent us a $10,000 fuel surcharge. We absorbed that cost and didn't pass it on to our travelers, and that's what you can expect with us. Now, we also have guaranteed departures, which is when you see that GD symbol in the brochure and on the show, that means we have enough passengers to travel on that departure. So as we move through the year, you'll see more of these programs going to guaranteed status. But a few of the key pieces of what make AFC Vacations so special and unique come down to our excellent team of real people handling all aspects of your program here. Our staff has over 130 years of travel experience combined and look forward to assisting to make your travel easy. At AFC, we also offer a low-cost travel insurance plan with a cancel for any reason benefit. This provides security as you move closer to your tour. Now, for over 25 years, we've been making travel easier by providing round-trip airport pickup service. We pick you up at your home, take you to the airport, and bring you home from your flight. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of getting to and from the airport. But new in 2023, and if you haven't traveled with us before, we're providing a $100 travel credit. So $100 off your final payment if you choose to make your own way to the airport. So by booking your own method, we reduce your final payment by $100 per person. So that's a great savings. Now, our mystery tours are a huge success, and they sell out nearly every departure. We have over 60 mystery tour destinations with fun-filled activities on them. Our staff is here to help you pick the right departure for you. So if you've done one or more of our mystery tours, our team can direct you to something new. When you book, you'll be advised how to pack, the average weather in the destination, and some helpful hints. About 3 weeks prior to departure, you'll be advised what time your flight leaves on which specific airline. And it's always fun to tell the folks at the check-in counter you don't know where you're going. So once you check in, you'll get your boarding pass and find out where your first destination is. The tour manager meets you in baggage claim, and over the course of the trip, they reveal tour components or give you clues along the way. So these are trips for those who have a sense of adventure and don't need to know all the details, but they are creative and fun itineraries with the seasons and weather considered. Now, Great Trains and Grand Canyons. This is a tour that operates during the spring and fall as we avoid the heat of the Arizona summer. This is our top selling tour in the West, and you can see all the different departure dates. These will fill up, so make sure you sign up soon. We stay 5 nights surrounded by the beautiful red rocks of Sedona, Arizona. Now we stay for our first full day. We take you around Sedona on a trolley tour. That also stops at the Chapel of the Holy Cross and that was built in 1954 up into the Red Rocks. We take you to Uptown Sedona, as well as the artist community of Tlaquepaque. And our day to the Grand Canyon takes us through the Oak Creek Canyon en route to Williams, Arizona. That's where we board the Grand Canyon Railroad and take you up to the south rim of the canyon, which is a really magical experience stepping through the Bright Angel Lodge and seeing the canyon laid out in front of you. Then an unknown highlight is our train trip through the Verde Canyon. This takes us through the most lush and beautiful stretch of Arizona, lying just to the west of Sedona. The biggest draw is staying at one hotel for your entire trip where you don't have to pack and unpack over and over again. Now, Utah's Mighty National Parks is a tour with a geological gold mine. This tour brings to life the big 5 parks in Utah like no one else can, and we arrive in Grand Junction, Colorado to start the tour. The group will enjoy a welcome dinner and then the next morning make our way to the Colorado National Monument. That's where visitors can see the remarkable effects of millions of years of erosion on the landscape. After our visit, we make a stop for a wine tasting in the up-and-coming Colorado wine region of the Grand Valley AVA. It's part of 76,000 acres of production of wines since about 1880. Now from the tasting, we take you on scenic byway 128, known as the River Road, as it follows the Colorado River on a 44-mile long stretch. We then arrive in Moab for a 5-night stay, and this is a great hub for ventures into the different parks of Utah. Now, Capitol Reef National Park is a hidden treasure filled with cliffs, canyons, domes, and bridges. And we also see the famous Dead Horse Point State Park with its dramatic bend of the Colorado River. Canyonlands is the largest national park in Utah, and the island in the sky sits atop a massive 1,500-foot mesa. 20 miles of paved roads lead to many of the most spectacular views in canyon country, and the canyons were carved by both the Colorado and Green Rivers over centuries. We take you to Monument Valley and the Navajo land, and that's where we're actually led by a Navajo tribal member to see these magical formations. Arches National Park sits about 5 miles from Moab, so nice and convenient there, and it contains the world's largest concentration of natural landscape and sandstone arches. The park totals about 76,000 acres and has a scenic drive and a variety of different formations. And then our farewell dinner in Canyonlands takes you on a river cruise by night, where a guide will present the narrated show illuminating the canyon walls. So this is a wonderful departure. We have 3 trips going out, June, September, and October, and all of them are guaranteed to travel with enough passengers. Now, the Southwest National Parks Tour takes you from Las Vegas through Nevada and into both Utah and northern Arizona. It separates itself from Utah's Mighty National Parks by visiting parks in western Utah that includes Bryce and Zion. These are 2 of the absolute best sites in the area. We take you on a tram tour through Zion, where we get great information about the rock formations. Then my favorite park in the state with Bryce Canyon and its hoodoo formations in all shapes and sizes. One of the highlights is to the Skywalk over the Grand Canyon, and that's where you can make your way around a horse-shaped extension, standing over the west part of the canyon, looking down at the Colorado River. And this is an exceptional parks tour with an easy airport hub into Las Vegas. So we have 2 departures, September 24th and November 5th. And Idaho Adventure is a long-standing tour with AFC. It's one of the most scenic states that not many people are aware of. It's more than just potatoes with this great tour. We arrive and stay 2 nights in the vast Coeur d'Alene Resort, and it sits right on the lake's edge. This is a spectacular setting. We work north to south to towns like Wallace, where we take a silver mining tour, then to McCall, Idaho, and that's home of the Smoke Jumpers Training School that teach firefighters how to jump into the blazes and put them out from the air. In Sun Valley, we stay at historic lodges. The individual lodge that we generally stay at, that is the Sun Valley Inn, and this is one of the first ski resorts in America, and it's a great spot to visit in the summer and fall as well. So this tour takes off September 13th with Chris. Now we are really excited to release our first program for 2024. This is a trip that Matt Kennel, Deb Howard, and I took last spring and had an absolute blast on. The destination brings to life an incredible country which connects to America through art, food, culture, and war. So we are happy to introduce Normandy, Paris, and the Seine River Cruise. So this is a stunning trip. This great European river cruise journey is one of my favorite experiences, as it hits home for the American populace with its connection to the D-Day beaches. Now we fly round trip into Paris, the City of Lights, for a magical trip on the Seine. That day we board the Amadeus Diamond and make our way to the coast. We stop in the gorgeous city of Rouen, and that is home to beautiful architecture and the story of Joan of Arc. So this is a quick clip of the beautiful city of Paris and all its magic laid out in front of you. And then the town of Rouen is a larger city just outside of Paris, a little ways. And we have a city tour there on our journey. From there, it is off to the D-Day beaches, and we get to enjoy a full day of Normandy sightseeing. We work our way out to Pointe du Hoc. That's where the Army Rangers scaled these massive cliffs up to fight the Nazis. And we also will stop at the American Cemetery in Colville, which is a really touching experience to see the graves of over 9,000 American soldiers. We stop at Omaha Beach, and this is a spectacular sight to see where the men landed that day, June 6, 1944. Then to this beautiful little coastal town of Etretat, and it sits right out on the Normandy coast. And one of the great sights is these beautiful arches that are up on two different cliff sides. So the Flar Cliff and the Near Cliff separating the town. And the town is a fun little attraction in its own right, but just amazing views throughout this area. Then probably one of my favorite stops outside of Normandy is getting to see Honfleur. And Honfleur is a beautiful little harbor town, as you can see here, with great little shops that stretch out all past these sailboats. So amazing shopping. We'll do a city tour there as well. This is also home of caramel. So you get some great treats, chocolates, caramels, as well as cider is a big production here. And then, of course, omelets. Omelets come from this region of France. So it's a great place to grab a snack while you're touring around. We'll do a city tour, a walking tour of about an hour and a half, and then get to have a little free time to explore. Not only that, we also do an extension at the end of the tour. So if you wanted to add this on, is a 2-night extension to the City of London. So we take the Eurostar rail, cross the Channel, and make our way into London for 2 nights. This includes a London city tour, as well as an English pub dinner and day at leisure. So really fantastic program to incorporate with your time in France. But this departure is 2 times next year in 2024. That is April 16th and October 8th. So it's a 9-day program with 20 meals incorporated. On board the ships, all of your meals are included, as well as generally there's about a 4 p.m. snack time. So if you're still hungry then, good luck, because there's so much food in each of the meals. And not only that, we include wines with all of our dinners. So wine is included with each meal, wine, beer, or soft drinks in our dinners. Not only that, we also incorporate free Wi-Fi on our cruises. So these are some great features that really bring to life our time out on these European river cruises. And we'll be on the Amadeus Diamond that was recently renovated in 2019. And we were just on it. It's a beautiful ship and really quality staff, English speaking staff that take you all throughout Europe. So please sign up quick, as this is one of the programs that does sell out quickly, as we saw last year. So 2 departure dates, either in the spring in April or in the fall in October. Both are fantastic times to see this area. So as part of our London extension, we also get to see the Tower of London and Big Ben. And so it's a great opportunity to see a different part of Europe. Now, our Best of Chicago tour is a great unpack once trip based in the heart of Chicago at the Palmer House Hilton. Spend 5 nights in the city and enjoy a city tour on day 2. That features Willis Tower and Magnificent Mile, which is the premier commercial district of Chicago. On day 3, you'll take a tour to learn about the history of Chicago's gangsters of the 1920s and 30s, like Al Capone, John Dillinger. And that afternoon, you'll tour Wright Studio, where Frank Lloyd Wright lived and worked. Then spend day 4 in Racine, Wisconsin, and that's where you'll visit the research and admin buildings of SC Johnson Wax. So you'll tour Wrigley Field, which is home of the Chicago Cubs baseball team, and then take an architectural tour of the Chicago River. And this is where you get to see some of the unique designs of the city's buildings. Then you'll return home after touring the 500-acre estate of the editor of the Chicago Tribune newspaper. So this departure is September 15th with Pat Conway. Now, the Great Lakes Adventure in Fall Colors is a wonderful tour that takes you not only to Chicago, but also Milwaukee, Grand Rapids, and Mackinac Island. It's a fun-filled tour with some great inclusions, which feature a visit to the historic Lambeau Field, the Grand Hotel for lunch on Mackinac, a city tour through Chicago, and the Presidential Library for Gerald Ford. If these areas are places you haven't visited yet, you don't know what you're missing. But this is a wonderful program. So sign up today as space is limited. We only have one departure date. That is September 28th. Now, we incorporate parts of 3 states on the Atlantic coastal stretch of South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida on this tour. This is Savannah and Charleston. And I was actually out there just about a week ago visiting Charlotte, North Carolina, and then out into Beaufort, South Carolina. Beautiful, beautiful stretch with this amazing old oak trees and covered in Spanish moss. But we'll start out by working our way from Charleston, where we stay 3 nights near the historic district. And if you're a landscape or gardening enthusiast, this tour is especially for you. Our first visit is to Middleton Place, which is home of America's oldest landscape garden. The stone masonry of the buildings, the well-kept grounds, and stunning statues will bring to life the South. Then it's off on a city tour of Charleston, originally called Charlestown after King Charles, and it's set right on the Ashley River. Waterfront Park is a beautiful part of town with its pineapple statue, and that's a symbol of hospitality. And Charleston was the first commercial center of trade in rice and indigo, so it's a great place to visit. Then it's off to continue our journey south, where we head to Beaufort, and we visit the town in style on a carriage ride through the city. So amazing historic houses, mansions, and buildings throughout town. And we get to see the Alston House as well on this tour. So you'll see charming homes, mansions, and beautiful historic properties along the way. And then we stay 2 nights in the city of Savannah. And this is one of my favorite locations in the South. It's got an amazing European style charm to it with its public squares. And then on our city tour, we'll see the old cotton exchange, River Street, as well as the site of General Sherman's March to the Sea. Now, for 2 nights, we're lucky enough to stay at the famed Jekyll Island Club, and that was built in the 1880s. So originally it was the site of an exclusive hunting club, but once opened under the new name, it was known as the richest, most exclusive club in the world. The island was home to the Rockefellers, the Goodyear family, and many, many more. And their homes are part of a guided trolley tour that features all of these sites. Now we wind down to Florida and fly out of Jacksonville on this departure. And we have just one departure left for the year. That is November 6th. So please don't miss out on this fantastic trip. Now, as a brand new tour for 2023, Nashville Smoky Mountains and Bluegrass is a program that blends the best parts of 3 tours that we've done in the past. Music Cities, and then Kentucky with Noah's Ark, and the Smoky Mountains with Pigeon Forge. So put those 3 trips together and you get one fantastic tour. Now you'll fly into Louisville, Kentucky and stay 2 nights at either the Galt House or Brown Hotel. And we start the trip with a visit to the Mecca of horse racing, that is Churchill Downs. So you'll tour the Kentucky Derby Museum that preserves the legacy of the longest continuously running sporting event in the country. Our next visit takes us to the Louisville Slugger Museum to journey back through time with the history of baseball. And you can't go to Kentucky without learning about bourbon. Now, nearly 90% of the world's bourbon is produced here because of the minerals in the water. And we head to the Evan Williams Distillery for the bourbon experience. Then it's off to the Ark Encounter. That features a full-size Noah's Ark built according to the dimensions given in the Bible. It's the largest timber frame structure in the world, and you'll see numerous sites and exhibits on living quarters and life on the Ark during our time there. Then we head off to Lexington and that's where we visit the Kentucky Horse Park that celebrates man's relationship with the majestic animal. Now, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is a scenic wilderness area covering over 800 square miles, and it was established back in 1934 to protect a hardwood forest. It's home to some of the highest peaks in the Appalachian Range, and also home to many species of animals like the black bear, wild boar, and foxes. So we take you into the beautiful state of North Carolina on this tour as well, and you'll head to the Biltmore Estate, which was constructed in 1895 by George Washington Vanderbilt. And it's a 250-room chateau with manicured gardens and grounds designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. Our last 2 days and nights are spent in the magical city of Nashville. There is so much about this place to love, especially if you're a fan of music. So on Broadway, the street is lined with music venues left and right, and it's called Music Row. We spend those 2 nights at this beautiful property, the Gaylord Opryland. And this is an expansive hotel with so much to see, you could spend 2 days alone just exploring the hotel. As part of our city tour in Nashville, we include a stop at the Country Music Hall of Fame. This extensive museum is dedicated to the music that put Nashville on the map through the Grand Ole Opry and other music venues. We also include stops at the Ryman Auditorium, which is known as the Mother Church of Country Music, and our grand finale is a performance of America's longest running radio show, the Grand Ole Opry. So this has one departure, leaving with Deb Howard, that is September 20th, for Nashville, Smoky Mountains, and Bluegrass. Now, if you are a music lover, this tour will open your eyes to different sounds which come out of these unique areas. So from St. Louis, we head to Branson, the live show capital of the US. Branson is full of treasures, and we include 3 shows on this program. We head off to the south and visit Little Rock, Arkansas, which is home to the Bill Clinton Library. As we turn east, a visit to Memphis includes the blues. And this music genre has deep roots throughout the South, but the clubs and venues of Memphis brought the music into the spotlight. We'll make another great stop at Graceland, and that was Elvis Presley's home. He had multiple different renovations through the years, and so you can see all the work that he did on the property. And finally, it's off to Nashville, home of country music and the Grand Ole Opry. And we'll see the Country Music Hall of Fame as part of our great city tour. So come join us October 12th as tour manager Brad Wenzel shows off his home state of Missouri and much, much more. Now, Cape Cod and the islands is a historic and awe-inspiring destination that brings to light both colonial and modern highlights. Boston is one of the largest cities in the US and the largest city in both Massachusetts and New England. And you'll enjoy a city tour featuring much of the history of our country's foundation before we head out to the Cape. Now, Cape Cod is a hooked sandy peninsula from the glacial period and encompasses 65 miles into the Atlantic Ocean. It's also home to the Plymouth area and Plymouth, Massachusetts, where the Pilgrims came on the Mayflower in 1620. We'll visit a replica of the ship and the original plantation, as well as a stop to see the Plymouth Rock. Then we stay 5 nights in either Hyannis or Yarmouth, and journey to many of the sites, including ferry rides to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. Then we enjoy a city tour of Newport, Rhode Island, and the famous Breakers Mansion, home to the Vanderbilt family in the late 1800s and early 1900s. This is our most popular East Coast tour, and you can see the extensive list of dates on here as well. Now, for the best weather, we plan the trip in the summer and early fall, and this maximizes the temperatures and then also hits some of that fall color with fall foliage. So great trips heading out all throughout summer and fall. Now, coastal Maine is where you'll also arrive into Boston, one of the nation's oldest cities founded by the Puritans in 1630. And a sightseeing tour of Boston includes the State House, Boston's oldest building, and that hosted the reading of the Declaration of Independence. Now we see the USS Constitution, first launched in 1797, nicknamed Old Ironsides. And then Fenway Park, which is home of the Red Sox since 1912. That's the oldest ballpark in the US, and we include a tour of the stadium on this program. It's a huge hit, even if you're not a baseball fan. Then we enter into the state of Maine, which is known for its rocky coastline, maritime history, and natural beauty. Maine is known as the Pine Tree State, as forest land covers about 89% of it. You'll rest your head in Portland or Kennebunkport for 5 nights, and the old port features working fishing wharfs and converted warehouses with restaurants and shops. The tour includes a scenic Casco Bay cruise to see lighthouses, fishing boats, local homes, and hopefully some sea life like seals. The coast of Maine is also where migrating humpback whales can be seen. Now, Portland Head Lighthouse is a historic lighthouse in Cape Elizabeth, and the light station sits at the entrance of the primary shipping canal into Portland Harbor. It was completed in 1791, and it's the oldest lighthouse in Maine and a photographer's dream. You can see it pictured in the upper left. You'll visit the coastal town of Kennebunkport in southern Maine, and that's known for beaches, the Bush Compound, and the Seashore Trolley Museum. Then local fishermen take you out on a working lobster boat for a hands-on lobster experience. You'll see the Cape Nettic Lighthouse that was put into use in 1879 and still active today. Then enjoy an authentic lobster clam bake. And the New England clam bake is a traditional method of cooking seafood like lobster, mussels, crabs, and soft-shell clams. Then stop and visit a maple sugar house, and that is a specialized building where sap from the sugar maple tree was collected. The last night features a farewell dinner with your new friends to share memories of your trip. And then after breakfast the following day, you'll travel back to Boston for your flight home. But Coastal Maine is a wonderful program. I highly recommend it, and people have absolutely come back raving. So multiple different departures for this year. Now, unfortunately, there's only one departure of this tour, and that is October 16th for Pittsburgh and Fallingwater. So you have to sign up for this date if you want to go. It's a great program, and Pittsburgh is unfortunately forgotten all too often, but this is a spectacular city to learn so much about our country's development. We see historic Fort Pitt, and that was built during the French-Indian War. We take you to the River of Steel exhibit and learn how impactful the steel industry is. And then the biggest highlight on this tour is Fallingwater. Now, Fallingwater was a summer home designed by Frank Lloyd Wright for a local family who owned numerous retail stores. Fallingwater got its name from the natural landscape architecture and waterfall out front, but this was a beautiful building designed in the 1930s and handed over to protect it in the 1960s and 70s. So really great program. We also incorporate a nightly cocktail party at the hotel each night. Then we also see Heartwood Acres Mansion, and that's pictured in the bottom left, which is a beautiful location. And all of this also incorporates 2 museums. That is the Carnegie and Heinz Museum in Pittsburgh. So come join us October 16th with Chris McCool. Now, Philadelphia Brandywine and Amish Country is where you'll spend 5 nights in the city of brotherly love. And this is an Unpack Once tour. You'll start with a welcome drink at the hotel on night 1, and followed by a city tour with the Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, and the National Constitution Museum the next morning. We also take you out to visit Valley Forge, and that is where George Washington led the Continental Army to post for 6 months and see the headquarters for Washington himself. We'll visit both the Nemours Mansion and Gardens as well as Longwood Acres Mansion of the DuPont family, and then travel to Hershey, Pennsylvania and the Hershey Story. So not only do you get to spend quality time in Philadelphia, you also get to see all these beautiful locations in its surrounding areas. And then in Amish country, we do a fantastic farewell dinner with meals served family style. This departure heads out once this year. That is September 24th. So please sign up. Now, our last remaining river cruise, as I mentioned before, these do sell out. This is traveling on the Rhone River in France. And this is a 2023 program, October 25th, with an unmatched experience on the river. This trip features 7 nights aboard the Amadeus Provence that was built in 2017 and holds less than 140 passengers. And we're already more than halfway sold out. And some of the categories are already sold out, so please don't wait. There are only 8 suites available on board, and these are the first category that get booked out. And they're much more spacious and also incorporate a balcony door. We include round-trip air in and out of Lyon, and that makes for a very convenient travel experience. As with all of our cruises, free wine, beer, and soft drinks are included with dinners, as is free Wi-Fi. Now on board you have the River Terrace and the Amadeus Club, which is a wonderful indoor area to enjoy a book or chat with friends. Then our first port of call is the city of Macon, and that's where we include a walking tour. Sitting right on the bank of the Rhone, Macon is a beautiful layout with a flat, easy to get around surface and very historic buildings and many park areas as well as a great museum. Now it's also the hub of the Mâconnais region of Burgundy, which produces one of the most famous wine areas in France. So Burgundy is home to both red and white wines. The northern part near Dijon produces more red wines, and the southern part produces more whites. But they swap grapes and produce it all in each of the areas throughout Burgundy. Now, after our city tour, we include a excursion through the vineyards, and then an optional tour is available out to a wine tasting. Now, our next stop was an unknown delight when I was here in 2018, and that is the town of Beaune. And our city tour of this walled town includes a visit to the Hotel Dieu. That was built in 1443, got an amazing polychrome roof that you can see in the bottom left corner, and it was built as a hospital for the poor in a period just after the plague. So you'll tour the entire facility with its master artworks inside and nearby vineyards and amazing architecture. Now after the tour, you'll enjoy a wine tasting experience to sample some of the local product of the Burgundy wine region. Our city tour of Lyon takes us to the Lyon Cathedral, and this is a Roman Catholic church up on the hill overlooking the river. Construction on that took place in about 1100 and finished in 1476. Now we also see Old Town Lyon, and this is my favorite part of the day, as the paved old streets and colorful facades of houses dating back to the Renaissance bring to life this historic district. Then we make our way south on the river, heading to Avignon, otherwise known as the City of Popes, and 7 popes lived here in the 14th century. We include the Bridge of Avignon as well as the Palace of the Popes with a guided walking tour. The following day we head to Arles, and that is truly a gem on this river. Very quaint southern French town with a Roman amphitheater that rivals the Colosseum. And this is an outstanding site to visit, and we go inside to see it all. On the final day, you can choose to relax on board or take an optional excursion to the Ardèche Gorge, and that is one of the most majestic views in all of the world. You can choose to extend your journey for a 2-night optional to Paris, and that features a city tour of both Dijon as well as the City of Lights. So in Paris on our city tour, we see the Notre Dame, the Louvre, and the Eiffel Tower, and then make stops along the way. And we also incorporate a cruise on the Seine through the city. Now you'll have an afternoon as well, free in Paris, to enjoy a museum visit or a walk along the Champs-Élysées. But this cruise departs October 25th, and it does fill up quick, so please book your cabin. So here's just a quick glimpse at the 2-night extension with 2 city tours, the Seine cruise, and a free afternoon. So October 25th with Deb Howard, one of our top tour managers. She won't do you wrong. She's a great guide to travel with. Now Spain, Portugal, this is an amazing destination. I can't say it enough. It's such a beautiful place to visit. And this departure takes off November 2nd and begins in Lisbon. And that is the heart of Portugal. It's become one of my new favorite gems in travel. And I spent several weeks in Portugal in 2019 and absolutely fell in love with it. After years as a sailing power, Portugal reached its peak in 1815, and it became a huge boom area. You'll see the Alfama, which is one of Lisbon's oldest and most photogenic communities in the city. It's known for its narrow, steep, and winding cobblestone streets. The National Pantheon, which is a great example of Baroque architecture. And then you'll also have the afternoon in Lisbon free after the city tour to explore on your own if you wish. We incorporate a fado show, and that's part of our welcome dinner. And in Portuguese, the word fado means fate, but you probably know it as the traditional music genre. Its roots are in the Alfama district, and fado songs are usually connected to the feelings of nostalgia and yearning for something or someone. That's why most lyrics about broken hearts and lost sailors at sea. Now, this is truly a cultural experience that you won't forget. And then we work our way from Lisbon out to Evora on the border. Now, Evora sits about 90 minutes east of Lisbon, and it's home to Roman ruins, a 12th century cathedral, and a wonderful cuisine, almost like Tuscany. We'll visit Evora en route to another beautiful city, and that is Seville, as we cross the border into Spain. And Seville is the fourth largest city in Spain, and a blend of culture, politics, and art. Now, while we're in Seville, we get to see the third largest cathedral in the world after St. Peter's in Rome and St. Paul's in London. This is also the location of the tomb of Christopher Columbus. And then we incorporate a flamenco show, and that fiery dance is one of Spain's great cultural hallmarks. Brings together three elements with rhythm, song, and dance. And enjoy a wonderful dinner with wine as we watch the dancers and musicians. We make our way to Granada, and that is the town with a stronghold of the Moors held until 1492, when the Catholic monarchs conquered the area. The Alhambra in Arabic means red castle, and it's located on the top of the hill Al-Sabica. The first historical documents date to about the 9th century, and this is an incredible sight to see that we incorporate. Now, up until 1560, Toledo held the title of capital of Spain, and it is a melting pot of Judaic, Christian, and Islamic cultures that all work together. And Toledo steel has been famous for a long period of time, as are their sword manufacturing. Toledo is also known as one of the original producers of marzipan, dating as far back as 850. So you'll enjoy 2 nights in the incredible city of Madrid, which is an amazing cultural capital in Europe. Amazing artworks, wonderful food, and great entertainment. And then we also offer a 2-night extension to Barcelona. So November 2nd is the departure date for this tour, and please don't wait on this. Now, Tuscan culinary experience. This is one I got to lead last year and absolutely loved it. But it brings to life some of what Italy has to offer. And truly, the Tuscan region of Italy is an all-encompassing stretch. It focuses on the heart of the country and the hills of Chianti, with short distances to each of our sites and a 1-hotel stay for 7 nights. We enjoy a full day of touring in the city of Florence, where our morning includes a city tour that incorporates the Accademia and Michelangelo's David. Then we walk along the Duomo, Florence's main cathedral and baptistry, and learn about the architectural renaissance that matched the timeline of the artistic renaissance. We make our way to the River Arno to walk along the Ponte Vecchio, that is Florence's old bridge, and all the while taking in the sights and smells of the home of the world's largest outdoor art gallery. Outside of Florence, we incorporate a cooking class to try your hand at homemade pastas. Winery tours focus on 2 styles of wine, that is Chianti and Brunello, and our Brunello tasting is done in Montalcino. That's where a sommelier walks us through the tasting and traditions of this famous region. And we incorporate a lunch at a saffron-producing farmhouse near San Gimignano, and visit to both that city of towers as well as Siena, which is home of the Il Palio horse race. Then you'll enjoy a 30-minute lake cruise out to Isola Maggiore on Lake Trasimeno, and that's where we have lunch. We also incorporate dessert and coffee there, and it's a wonderful setting right on the lake's edge. And this food and wine experience is unlike any other. We have just a couple of dates remaining for this year. That is October 24th, which is already guaranteed departure, and then November 7th, which we anticipate to get there. So please sign up. Athens and the Greek Isles. This has a couple of departures, one coming up here in May and the other October. And Athens and the Greek Isles is a Mediterranean dream. It's on so many people's bucket lists, and Athens is the historic capital of Europe, and its history stretches over 3,400 years. We'll see Syntagma Square, which is also known as Constitution Square, which is the central square of Athens. And then we'll also get to see the Temple of Zeus, the most important building in the Altis. And it's the largest temple in the Peloponnese region. We'll take you to the Olympic Stadium, and the ground around the track rose naturally to the east, and artificial embankments were created on the 3 sides. So the stadium was transformed in the 2nd century from rectangular to horseshoe shape, and the capacity increased to 50,000. So it became the home of the first modern Olympic Games in 1896. We then see the Parthenon, which was built as a shrine to Athena, and the temple was completed by 438. Now, the Acropolis Museum is really a highlight for a lot of people, and they have walls of ancient pottery, statues that line the gallery, and below you are glass floors which make the excavations visible. So they are currently doing ongoing excavations in that site. Now, many of the artifacts found in the museum date back to 500 BC. And this is a great program for a couple of different reasons, but one of the ones I always focus on is it's different from a cruise in that cruises spend about 8 hours in each of the islands. This tour actually spends 2 nights in the two main islands, and that is Mykonos and Santorini. So we'll take the Blue Star Ferry from the Port of Piraeus to Mykonos. That takes about 3 to 4 hours. And the charm of the village of Chora and seeing Little Venice, as well as the windmills, bring to life this wonderful island. Little Venice in Mykonos is one of the most romantic places on the island, and getting to see sunset from here is a beautiful experience. You grab dinner at a restaurant with a view, which is the best way to enjoy the sunset so you're not surrounded by crowds. Then we take you off to Delos, and you'll be blown away by this small island that has fascinating archaeology. And that's where you'll have a guided tour of centuries-old sites, considered the most sacred of all islands. According to Greek mythology, Apollo was born on this tiny island in the Cyclades archipelago. Then the following day, it's off to Santorini, known as Thera in ancient times. It's one of the most famous islands in the world, and you can sit in front of the caldera, enjoy local dishes, a drink or a coffee, all while gazing at the remarkable beauty of an active volcano looking out over this stretch. So really a wonderful opportunity there. And we incorporate a walking tour of Ia, and the following day you'll have a free day to pick and choose activities or relaxation. Now, grapevines have been cultivated on Santorini since before the eruption, and today some 40 local grape varieties are grown on Santorini. So most of the tastings on the island are predominantly white wines, and we do include a wine tasting on this trip. Then you'll return to Athens by ferry and fly out the following day, or join our extension to northern Greece that features two of the monasteries of Meteora, which sit on these amazing sandstone cliffs. And it's also home to 17 monks and 50 nuns. We also visit the areas of Kalambaka and Delphi. So this is a wonderful program heading out in the fall, October 10th. Then we work with a couple of different partners all throughout the US as well as internationally. Our partnership with American Queen Steamboat sends you either down the Mississippi River or along the Columbia out west to learn about Lewis and Clark. We partner with several different major cruise lines, including Holland America, as well as Princess Cruises, and they take you all around the world by cruise ship if that's something of interest to you. Now, as we wrap up, I wanted to talk about the show specials that we offer as part of this show. So if you book a new 2023 tour or river cruise by Friday, April 21st, that's this Friday, we're reducing our standard deposit of $350 to $250 low-cost deposit, and that's only available to show attendees. So big savings on the money you put down up front. We also offer $20 off your travel protection plan if you pay for it with your deposit. Then on any of our standard tours, you can save anywhere between $100 and $50 as part of early booking savings. So that's now extended to more travelers. Specifically for our river cruise to Normandy in 2024, we're offering a $200 early booking savings just for this cruise alone. And that is unlimited. So normally it's limited to the first 20 people that book, but this is open-ended until June 30th. So great way to save automatically $200 off your booking. We're also offering one cabin category upgrade on either the Burgundy and Provence cruise in 2023 and the 2024 Paris, Normandy, and the Seine cruise. So you book a lower category and you're automatically upgraded to the category above it. So more space, more opportunity in that can save you anywhere from $200 to $400 per person. And you must use the savings code 24release. And again, these offers are only available through Friday, April 21st. The one regarding early booking savings for the Normandy Paris is extended a little bit more, but these are great offers and provide you some fantastic savings on your trips. Now, how you can book is you can call our 1-800 number, 369-3693. You can email Joe, Holly, or April at afctours.com, or visit our website, afcvacations.com, and the selection menu for forms. And you can fill out a form online if you wish. And please add us on Facebook. We provide a lot of different updates throughout. So AFC Vacations on Facebook is a great way to check in for new information, especially on these great shows. And we just wanted to thank you for attending. And if you do have any questions or feedback that comes up, please email April at afctours.com. But thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to telling you more about our different travel adventures in the future. Have a great day.